ban if they feel that there's something that they don't want to play. As we see the Falstad come in, as Falstad does have that very good uh, map-wide presence, and the Mighty Gus is just really important when it comes to those extended, even just getting picks off and just fighting over objectives. As 3.5k takes out the Zagara as their first ban. She's still very high on the popularity list. She has a lot of control in a lane if she's not sort of held down.
Oh, look at that. Not banned at all, so Jam's going to pick up Rhaegar. That's
Absolutely. Not too surprising. He,
I think we're going
more
to
often
see.
than not, will, if he doesn't get banned, he'll be first picked more often than not. He's just really strong. With how he was changed, it did make a lot more, create a lot more viable options for Rhaegar, but his damage just was a little bit too high. I'm glad that they kind of toned back on that a bit. And the Li Ming is actually picked up right away for the 3.5k. As I said, I wasn't expecting too much of a high priority, but they might know something that I don't.
She's still, like I said, she still has a lot of good damage potential.
She does
And
have good
even
damage.
at the level 20, like, okay, they removed the elements one. Well, when you increase the power to a disintegration rate, well, when you give it that slowdown effect, it's actually really hard to escape from. And Greymane also being picked up as well.
Oh,
3.5k, just really going in for the big damage dealers at the moment. Greymane with his great poke, sort of leap into the fray abilities.
yeah, they're really. I don't think they'll need too much more damage for the rest of the draft, and they could work towards rounding out their comp from
Mm.
there. And on the side of Jam, they've picked up the start of their damage with Jaina, and she's seeing a lot more popularity than even Kalthas, who has really dropped out of popularity, especially since some of his more recent nerfs.
Sort of an interesting one there, and I was talking to some of the a lot of people about it. And Kelthus, they still consider Kelthus to be quite a strong hero to pick up, but for some reason, particularly in the ANZ region, we're not seeing a lot of people take Kelthus anymore. Like they just these priorities dropped. He's not a bad hero. He just doesn't seem to give the same value as some of the other heroes, especially with Jaina, who has become more burst orientated with the recent buffs she's received.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of his defensive talents got nerfed, which made him a lot less of a safer pick.
Mm.
As Jam picked up the Diablo as their probably primary engage. Really good alongside a Jaina if you want to be picking off someone really quickly. And the Rhaegar should be able to keep him topped up pretty well. And now we get into the second part of the ban phase. Yeah, the Thor's a good ban here. They've already got enough damage on their own side, so they can try and pick off some more of the reliable damage that
Mm.
Jam might want to go for. And likewise, Jam taking out the Uther, 3.5 doesn't have a support yet, and they want to pinch the support pool towards probably corralling them into a certain pick.
Well, I mean, they've removed the Uther, so it removes that divine shield sort of setup, going onto someone like Greymane, who sort of does that poke and then dives in to finish off a hero.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing with 3.5 is that, yeah, they don't have a secured front line at the moment. Greymane and Li Ming are still both quite squishy, and they can get taken out fairly fast if they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have that big, strong front line. Johanna is a very good pickup there, because it can use the Condemn to keep people off Li Ming. When Greymane goes in, pulls them all together, because when he changes to a Wargren, we know he can do his Razor Swipe. And so it can get a lot of damage done to a wide variety of heroes.
Yeah, they could very well take up another warrior to go along with Johanna. Maybe perhaps a Sonya or I'm not even the Muradin, just to give some additional frontline presence because they already have a decent amount of damage
Mm.
coming from the Greymane Leeming. Actually, they're looking towards they're actually going to lock in the Illidan. Interesting.
Hmm.
Haven't seen too much of him as of late.
Well, in the qualifier rounds for the championship, we did see one team pick up Illidan, and they actually did a very good job with him. It was very good for cleanup squad, using the hunt, jumping onto those sort of weaker targets like Jaina, even metamorphs it just for the extra attack damage as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they're going to use Illidan. Obviously, looking at Illidan onto a target like maybe onto a target like Jaina, just be able to basically sit Illidan on top of her and just really make life very hard for her. Jam picking up Lunara as well.
Yeah, Lunara's actually been seeing a little bit more play in the competitive scene. She has come a long way since when she was released, and she just felt really underwhelming in terms of power. I've actually seen this combo played over in Korea where Ravehearts played the Lunara and the Rhaegar. The
Mm.
Rhaegar actually went for a lot more of the totem talents just to allow Lunara to go the unfair advantage at level 13 so the poison does more damage to slowed targets. And Rhaegar is just able to set up a lot more opportunities for damage. And it really, like, the damage really just stacks up if you just let them continue just poke down and slow you just for days. And it's a really strong combination. And it's going to be interesting to see what 3.5 actually counter with. First of all, Jam finishes off with the Arthas. Haven't seen too much of him as of late, but another frontline is a decent pickup. They do have a very decent frontline with the Diablo and the Arthas with a lot of damage coming from the Jaina and Lunara.
The only trouble I find with the Arthur's pick, well, I like him, and he's reasonable frontline warrior. He's not a very mobile warrior. And when you
Yeah.
look at the other lineup where you've got, oh, that's the Kharazim locked in. When
Okay.
you've got 3.5k, they've got the Kharazim, the Illidan, the Johanna, the Greymane, the Leeming. They've all got a relatively good way to disengage from their target. Teleport. Obviously Leeming can teleport. Greymane can disengage. Johanna, she can condemn and walk away. She's a tank. She's got options.
Yeah.
Even Illidan can talent to get away. Kharazim can quick move as well. Arthas, he can lock them down in place. He can slow them down. But if they get away, once they get away, they're scot-free. There's no real good follow-up. Lunara doesn't really have a... I guess she could slow as well with the crippling spores. Diablo can control the game a little bit, pulling people. I don't know. I feel the strategy Jam's going for is a real slow lockdown, keep a hero still. Because a lot of characters on 3.5k are quite weak, quite squishy.
Yeah.
However, once 3.5k do break away and manage to get outside of that slow radius, they're home scot-free. 3.5k looks like going to be playing a very big dive-in, disengage comp where Jam's relying on them to be locked down in place. So very interesting strategies. I don't think one really counters the other ones as such, but
It's going to be all about who plays it better. If Jam is able to get those really extended, drawn-out fights where the Lunara has the time for her poison to deal the damage, they're going to look much better around these objectives. If 3.5k are able to pick off a target early and then just keep on going in, then it's just going to be a complete whitewash. It's just going to be pretty much who gets the advantage and who is able to play their comp correctly, I guess.
well, they're both very interesting. They're both. I think Jam's got the most interesting strategy. They're going for like
Yeah.
the very lockdown, burst heavy comp. Just with the Arthas and Diablo. I mean, Diablo can get in there, overpower someone over the shoulder, and Arthas gets his well, just roots him in place. Jaina follows up with a slow. Even Rhaegar, with his Earthbind totem, can follow up with a slow as well. I mean, they're going to have a hard time, whoever that is, escaping. But once they do escape, I can't think of a target that they could throw. Greymane might be their best target because even though he does have a disengage, he doesn't always have it. Like he has to be in his Wargren form to use it. And so if he's not in a Wargren form and he's caught, that's his big problem.
Yeah, that's
there.
when he's in trouble. And even with that, if Jam just continues having those extended fights, they should come out on top. Greymane and Leeming do have a decent amount of poke, but I think in terms of healing, Rhaegar can put out much more consistent healing than the Kharazim. And if they're just going in poke wars, I think the amount of poke that a Jaina and Lunara has over time could do more than what a Greymane and Leeming can do. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of a trigger finger 3.5k has at going in, because they need to get on top of the Lunara and all the Jaina. They need to get onto those those damage threats and not let them just poke them to death.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I guess it's going to come down to, I don't feel either team has chosen a better comp than the other one, and really it's going to come down to skill in this game. Who takes away, who comes out first in this first game of the tournament.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting one.
Alright, so I have been invited to the lobby. I'll get you an invite to, good sir. Where are you?
There we go.
Sorry, just bear with me in a moment, just setting up the overlays.
Not a problem. Just looking over these drafts and how these fights might go, I think it's going to be hard for the Kaiser to actually get a decent amount of healing off. It's trying to stand next to an Arthas and a Diablo. I'm not sure how good that's going to go. But we shall see.
Trying to fix this buggy overlay. Alright, too easy. We're just waiting. The teams are forming themselves right now, selecting the heroes, getting to the game. You can see exactly what's going on in the game now, so if I do forget to change the screen, you can still see the action. So hopefully I don't do that though. But very interesting. So on Blackheart Bay, this is the intro on Blackheart Bay. These competitions. How do you feel both of these competitions are going to go on this map?
On this map specifically? I'm actually not too sure. They both seem like they're gearing up towards fighting around the turn-in point.
Yeah, just looking at these, because neither team seems to have a traditional bottom lane hero. Like, we don't have anyone that you traditionally say, like, that hero is going to go down the bottom lane, going to do a lot of work, focus on capturing those camps. But really, when we look at it, like, there's no traditional heroes, no Zagaras, Sagaras, no Sylvanas, nothing like that.
There's no Thrall in there either.
Yep, no Thrall. There's nothing like that to really help with those lanes. If we do look at the lineup taken by 3.5k, they do have Illidan, who himself is good at picking up camps. But Greymane as well is pretty good at picking up camps too. And Johanna has good wave clear. If you look at the other guys, we look at Jam Gaming's lineup. What do they have? Jaina could be good just laning, clearing up the waves. Arthas isn't too bad, but it costs him a lot of mana to do so. So when you look at Rhaegar, Diablo, Lunara, Rhaegar's got his lightning shield that's going to help a lot. But no, like, neither team really had that traditional laner as such. And because we look at Jam and they've got such a lineup that looks like they could be doing a little bit of a roaming gank squad as well. Wonder how that's going to interact, if there's going to be a lot of that coming out of Jam early on, and how we're going to see 3.5k respond to that.
Yeah, I think if we are going to be seeing a whole bunch of roaming, it might just be from the Diablo, just to try and set up some good ganks. But anyway, as we get into this game, the first game of the day on Blackheart's Bay, on the blue side, we will be having 3.5k. Was it 3.5k
MMR
EU? We have Morton playing the Li Ming. We have Jack playing the Johanna. Babelfish playing the Malfurion. Larthol playing the Illidan. And we have Ultivium on the Grey Mane.
Alright, on the other side of the map, as the red team, we do have Jam Gaming, where we've got Hurdles playing Diablo. Zammy is on Lunara, Clapton's playing Arthur. We had Dubscope sitting there on the Jaina, and H Whiskey will be our Rhaegar. Alright,
Yeah,
going up here.
yeah, we saw the blue team going up towards that side point while Jam Gaming decided to go towards where the turning point is to see if there was going to be anyone that they could pick off, but nothing happening just there, so they just returned back to lane. And there's a little bit of trading going on in the bottom lane between the Grey Mane and the Lunara. They want to keep on trading. Ultivian is actually doing a decent amount of damage, and Zami is actually having to go back and was going to use the health well, but decides not to for some reason as the Grey Mane keeps on going in, but he actually goes in a little bit too far and gets taken out by the tower, and that's going to be first blood, and that's going to be all those 5 coins going straight to the Lunara. Really,
ooh. And even
really
Rhaegar taking a little bit of a unfortunate kill there, being chased. I think he was body blocked away and had to go down, and unfortunately we just saw Illidan and Li Ming just follow up and get a kill, so each team securing a kill there. But coins definitely going towards the favour of 3.5k EU just now.
Yeah, they actually went towards the bottom chest and actually picked up a lot of those coins from that chest away from the Lunara, and that's going to be 9 coins handed in right away.
What do you think about this lineup in the bottom lane here? We've got Grey Mane, and we also have Lunara going up against each other. Lahol's coming down just to push her out. Say, hey, what's going on, Zammy? Just remind you, I am here.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. We saw with that first trade that they were kind of even with the amount of damage that they were doing, and it was just a little bit of a misplay from the Grey Mane, which just spelt his end. So it's going to be interesting to see if they keep on going for those 1v1s, or if Lahal on this Illidan is going to come down and try and influence those little duels, as they do pick up those siege giants really quickly.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, that they do have Illidan and both Grey Mane, so they've got a bit better control of the camps. They can pick them up and respond to them. I don't know if Jam really has anyone that can solo the camps by themselves right now, and so we're going to probably see a lot more map control coming out for 3.5k.
Yeah, we've got the Jaina and the Diablo just working through a bunch of the camps right now, is just to try and even up a whole bunch of the coins, because 3.5k they have enough coins to be able to hand in to get the first shots off for the game, and getting those first shots off can be really good for the experience lead. They already have a little bit of a lead, hitting 6 with first, and
oh, look, there's a little bit of gank going down. Hurdle is going in, throwing Ultivian over the shoulder. He is trying to get away, but he's being body blocked. And a nice little gank take up there.
Yeah, nice little pickup there, as the Morton on the Li Ming is just knocking down towers with Li Ming. As I said, the Diablo is probably going to be helping out with those ganks a lot, and we saw it right there. As there's going to be another gank in the top lane as they try and pick up the Rhaegar, but he does manage to get out, as it was a 4-man effort to try and take him down. And
they just missed out on body blocking him up against the tower, so he was very quick to respond to get through there. But this Grey Mane kill in the bottom lane is actually going to be huge for Jam, because they have 2 siege giants rocking up as well. It's going to do a lot of damage to that bottom lane. You can see there, both towers are down, walls down. Both those giants are still there as well while the chest comes up. So Ultivian has to respond to that. Behind this, we will see Diablo and Zammy pick it up.
Matt Furion actually gets picked up by the Jaina as he's trying to rotate along with his team, and I'm not sure what it was doing out of position there, but I'm guessing a Jaina will take a kill like that any day of the week. And here we go. Here comes these fights around the potential fights around the turning point, but Jam Gaming has just got a position on, and they're just going to hand in the 10 coins right away, and there's the blue team are just not in a position to be able to contest that. And it looks like they're going for another gank onto the Grey Mane. Diablo comes in, but he does sort of move out of range as the Illidan comes in as well, trying to get a little more damage onto the Lunara, but everyone's just going to walk away, and that's going to just end up being a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, it's really the bottom lane is really surprising right now. I mean that pickup on Greymane earlier, that's really done. That's paying out so much dividends right now to
Oh
Jam
yeah.
Gaming.
The amount of experience they got just from that one kill, they already had the siege camp coming through. They picked up the bottom bruiser camp, and they picked up a bunch of the towers, or both of the towers there, so they were able to uh, even out the experience. And here comes a big fight. The two front lines in the way as they do pick up the Malfurion right away, and there goes the healing. But it looks like 3.5 is actually getting a lot of damage down, taking out the Diablo as they just keep on pushing forward. Morden's going in onto the Arthas as she gets rooted up by the Arthas and does actually get the kill onto the Rhaegar as he was caught in an interesting position, and they look to try and get some more damage down. The arcane missiles do all hit, but that's just not enough damage to take out the Arthas, but they do.
Oh, they get the kill anyway.
In.
Oh, Timian.
Oh, what?
Nice.
Oh, was it the... What happened there?
He came in, he jumped into the bush, and he threw a Gilnean cocktail, and he got the,
wow.
on impact. Always explode on impact.
Nice.
Level 7 talent, I believe, and that just paid off for itself. I mean, Greymane is so good with that.
Yeah, he... the Arthas thought it was out, and then all of a sudden you see a cocktail flying at you, and then it's just sadness all along.
I think anyone would be feared to have one of those. That is good. No, that's good. That is good understanding of a player, like a player's mindset, where they might be standing in the base after retreating. That was really good play there. But look at this, La Hole's already got 12 coins again, and he can just do a hand in himself. All right, are we going to see Clapton?
Unless Arthas is going to try and interrupt. He does get the interrupt, but he's not going to be able to do that for too much longer as the rest of the blue team is coming in to help. Here comes Syndragosa. They do lock them down as... Oh, actually, On the Hunt was used onto a minion just to get out as Jack and Balefish are able to just saunter on out as... But they do not get the hand in, but they do manage to avoid a 4-man collapse from the red team. So they do sort of get out there okay. It's
well, I mean,
not too much of a problem. They'll be able to hand in those coins later, but yeah.
Right then, Illidan, he was the guy that needed to get out, and he used the hunt on a minion just to escape, and it was a great decision. He's kept 12 coins. It's really got pressure now on Jam because they know he's got 12. He can do a hand in by himself, and look, they've all got to rush down. Look at this here. He might get it.
Not be able to. Ooh, does get the interrupt, and now he's just going to have to back off because he knows that the rest of...
Yeah.
Is that Jam Gaming on the right?
On the right, yeah, red team is Jam. Yep. You know, that was a really interesting thing there that Jaina came down. He dropped, she did the Blizzard, and there is a slight delay on the cast time, so it's a bit risky. I mean, it did pay off.
The Blizzard almost didn't come out in time.
Yeah.
Now it looks like they want to try and get a hand in, but looks like Malfurion is going to be able to push them back with some of the Moonfire. And Diablo goes in onto the Johanna. They do sort of go onto her, but not much damage being put down. As it looks like the Arthas was trying to come in from the flank, but thinks against it. As Jack now looks to try and get a turn in. But they're just going to go in for a little bit of trading, not too much going down. But they do pick up... Oh, there goes the Syndragosa. Here we go with a big fight. It looks like the Illidan is going right onto the Nara. She does actually manage to survive it as they... Jeez, they're going all so low. The Johanna does go down.
Everyone's
going low. Lunara goes down, and here comes the resets for the Lu Ming. There's one, there's two, there's four of them down. There's all five of them down, and oh my god, that's a lot of coins. It looks like 3.5k MMR EU are going to just clean up that fight. It looked like it was pretty even, and then all of a sudden one person went down, and then the Li Ming resets just went off. She was able to get so much damage down, and she did go down in the end, but she put down enough for the Illidan to just clean up the rest of that fight, and that's a really good
that's a good trade. That's a good
trade.
Like, we'll trade 1 kill for 5 kills. We'll take that, says 3.5k.
Yeah, and Illidan made a real nuisance of himself in that fight, diving right to Lunara right at the start, drawing a lot of attention away from the front of the fight. And he actually managed, being able to survive all that attention was quite well done as well.
It's an interesting build we actually got coming out from Li Ming. I've just noticed. If we look at the talents, Li Ming is really gone for this big, strong, survival-based build. So she knows, she looked at the other team, she's got, they can slow, they can hold me down in place. It's, you know, if I don't build for survival, I could possibly, you know, die very easily in the situation. Taking double teleport talents, taking dominance at level 4 to give herself more survival. When she, you know, a target dies, she gets health back. She's definitely playing this sustain, like survival game, sustain game.
Absolutely, and here comes another fight as the Central Grocer does go down. The Malfold is going off, but and is actually doing a lot of work. But here comes the burst damage out from the red team as they do manage to pop the Johanna, but that's all they're able to get so far. They're trying to get the Illidan, who has currently 33 coins, but they're not going to be able to do too much more as the healing has just been a bit too much for JM Gaming to actually bite through.
Well, this is something that I didn't really talk about earlier, but if we look at the competition from JM Gaming, they've got no ability to go into a fight. But they can't dive onto a fight. They can't dive onto the Li Ming. They can't dive onto the the Malfurion. They can't get to any of those sort of back lines. And you've got Li Ming, when she drops that disintegration ray, you have to back away. If you're running into it to take the damage, you're going to take a lot of damage, especially in that small corridor. So choosing to fight at that point just then, all in sort of a straight line, was not a very good decision on Jam Gaming part. Plus, they do have the drop-off in level as well. So not only is Li Ming disintegration ray damaging, but the 2-level difference means it's even more damaging. And now we're looking at a talent disadvantage as well for against Jam Gaming. So, I mean, their composition, I really liked it, but I think that was a factor we didn't really discuss too much, is how are they actually going to start these fights? How are they going to get into them? And I almost think they're too reliant on the Diablo and the Apocalypse to really start an engagement or to get a start on, especially if Li Ming is going to sit at the back and just disintegrate and just really hold them off or stay off their advance.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a point where the Arts tried to make a bit of a flank, but then chose against it, and since then they've just been going for those front-on engages with Cindergrosa and the Apocalypse, trying to get something going, but it just hasn't worked so far. Walking right into a Li Ming Greymane is just asking to just take so much damage for free, and it's not really panned out well for them. They're currently at a 1 level disadvantage. They do have the talents back up to even, but with the amount of coins that 3.5k have managed to accrue from these past few fights, they're just able to get shots after shots at the structures of Gem Gaming, and that's just going to boost their XP lead even more.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's not too detrimental right now, right? With Gem you can still get back into this game. They're not out yet. It's only 1-2 level advantage come up. Now this could be interesting here.
Oh, it's going to be interesting.
Transaction.
A bit of a trap as they go onto the Johanna, but they do not have nearly enough damage to take them out, as they get turned around on the trapper has become the trappee, as 2 of them already go down on the side of Gem Gaming, and this is just a whitewash. They thought they had the pick, but it was onto the Johanna, who they just did not have nearly enough damage for. That's going to be a complete wipe.
If it was any other hero, they would have been dead. But
literally
Johanna,
any other hero, and it would have been just an easy pick off, and they would have been able to take the 5v4. But because it was the Johanna, who has so much survivability, and a Malfurion standing literally right behind her, they were not able to even get close to taking her out. I don't think she dropped below half health almost. But that's just a clean wipe, and that looks like it was going to be the last shot for Gem Gaming. They rolled the dice, tried to get a bit of a pick. They had the right idea. It's just with their composition, the Lunara's damage is just not instant enough for a pick like that to work. And it's just unfortunate that they just got completely torn apart, and now 3.5k are looking to do a similar thing as they come around behind Gem Gaming. They do get some of the stuns off, and here comes this integration ray. The Gen gets taken out immediately. Ancestral Healing does go onto the Rhaegar in time, and he does survive, but the Illidan comes flying, and they take him out absolutely immediately. And here comes more shots from the cannons, and they are just going to get even more of a lead. They're going to be level 20 soon. They're going to have the Storm Talons, and they're just going to push on for the win. There's not much that Gem Gaming can actually do at this point.
you know, it's a hard sell right now for Jam. I'm not sure how they're going to do this. They're going to, you know, could they defend? They do have 3 members up. They might be able to turn the fight back here. But
Goes down. They do go on to the Malfurion. The stasis does go down, so he will survive just a little bit longer, but they turn around and pick off the pretty much all the members of Jam Gaming. The Lunara is the only one surviving, and she's not going to be enough to defend this, and that's going to be game 1, going over to 3.5k MMR EU, and that was looking pretty close for a bit, and then all of a sudden those team fights just went overwhelmingly in favor of the blue team, and
yeah,
geez,
they just didn't have anyone. Like they had a tank, they had a warrior.
Yeah, the draft from Gem Gaming was, I think, quite good. It's just the way in which they played it just didn't really match up. The Lunara did the most damage for their team, but it's a lot of it. Well, pretty much all of it is damage over time, and they were not given the time to actually allow that damage to stick, especially when there's also a Malfurion on the other team who is able to heal with such regularity that the poison almost seems negated. But
they didn't have a. They could catch people. They could catch them and they could gank them. But what was really happening with those fights is they just couldn't get to anyone to actually fight. Like once, sorry, excuse me. A lot of the engagements, and it may have been a good play on 3.5k's side, is that they only ever fought in a situation where it was very corridory in feel, where okay, it doesn't matter, you can only go up or down. There's no way to go around. And what that meant is that someone like Li Ming could drop disintegration, and you kind of have to be running into this arcane beam to try and get to your target. And Li Ming was that target. But then you'd have Greymane, Illidan, and Johanna almost sitting on that front line, protecting that Li Ming. You couldn't really get past them. No one on Jam really had a good way to, say, jump over the opponent. Excuse me. Now, if you looked at someone like Lunara, she ended up taking Thornwood Vine as her level 10 heroic. Maybe the Leaping Strike might have been a better option to take in that regard, just so you could at least have gone over to Li Ming, put pressure on her, and really forced Morton playing the Li Ming to decide, man, do I want to stay here and get killed by Lunara, or do I want to start keep putting on the damage? But then Morton's even gone, you know what, I'm going to take dominance, and every time someone dies, I'm going to get health back. So maybe that was in the thinking, trying to counter that Lunara pick. So there's all these interesting things. I feel it's purely just the fact that Jam just couldn't get to the back line to really take out that Li Ming, and that was the problem. Look at her damage. Like, she did 50k damage. She was the top damage dealer for both teams.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how devastating Li Ming is. And so we'll see how Jam goes in the next game. Maybe they will try and pick up Li Ming. Maybe they will remove her, ban her from the lineup and go, no, we're not going to deal with that.
Well, I think the problem that Jam ran into a lot of the time was that a lot of those fights started with Jam trying to immediately take out the Johanna, which just did not happen.
Yep.
They tried to take her out, tried to remove her from the fight immediately before anything would happen, but they just weren't able to, and they blew a lot of cooldowns and onto the Johanna, and they just weren't able to fight for the rest of the next minute, and it just allowed 3.5k to just go in with much less worry that they were going to be picked off, because they had so much healing from the Malfurion. They had the Johanna tanking a lot of those valuable cooldowns, and it just allowed them to just deal so much damage with not too much threat on them. And it was a good point that you brought up about Gem Gaming not having much movement abilities. They really needed someone to be able to get to the back line. They were not able to even threaten the Lunara unless, I mean not the Lunara, the Li Ming, unless she herself teleported into the middle of the fight to try and get more damage down. That was pretty much the only way that they were able to get her. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the draft for the next game.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel Jam's going to ban out Li Ming. That's what I feel is gonna that's gonna happen.
Wouldn't be too surprised to see it, but that would leave up either the Farsight or the Zagara, which could arguably be stronger picks for in terms of lane presence. We'll see what they uh, end up going with. But
Yeah, see how they choose to respond to this. That's the big one there. I mean, Li Ming just did so much. Li Ming was definitely the MVP of that map, getting
oh yeah,
so much damage done. Great positioning. Very different talent build from what we would see from Li Ming, trying to maximize their damage. Morton, however, looked at the competition and went, you know what? Maybe I can sustain against Lanara and just remove any threat of her jumping to the back line. And maybe Jam saw those talent picks and went, well, there's no point taking Leap. It's the mind games are real, trying to get inside each other's heads. Decide what
yeah,
the teams are going to be trying to do.
yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what map we even go to next game.
Well, the first one was random. The second map,
Yeah.
however, is actually chosen by the losing team. So this is Jam making the statement. So they can choose, I believe, making the statement here like, we're confident on this map, that this is a map that we can come back on.
Yeah.
Alright, so the draft has started. I have provided you the link, and we will be playing on Sky Temple.
Nice. I do enjoy this map.
Now, an interesting thing here, we see often Jam do pick up the Lost Vikings. They do like playing it. And I wonder if a map like Sky Temple, quite large, to transgress, to move across, I wonder if we'll see a Lost Viking pick coming out of Jam here, so maximize that soak. Now, again, I have a love-hate relationship with the Vikings, and it's only because Jam's playing that I think we could see them. But yeah, there might be something playing on their mind. So Zagara's been removed by 3.5k. Good pick, especially on this map. Zagara just does so much damage in the bottom lane. Her moles can be really on point and just really devastating these team fights, segregating out the teams during the temple phase. She's definitely a good band, and it's pretty traditional.
Yeah, they did hover the Falstad ban, which I wouldn't be surprised to see Jam take off the table right away. Falstad, well, actually, they're just going to go for
There
that
we
Li Ming.
go, Li Ming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you called it. They did not like what they saw, and they're just going to take it off immediately. And 3-5 take up the Rhaegar right away. Again, a Rhaegar first pick. You're going to leave them up, they're going to pick them.
And I think there's been a lot of talk about that Rhaegar is really still in that situation, even with the buff and then slight nerfs he's received to try and bring him back in line. He's still just really strong. Like, he can clear waves himself. He's got good damage potential with the Feral Lunge that he gets automatically now.
Oh yeah.
So it's a pretty good pick.
He's a lot more versatile. He can be a lot more flexible in what he does, and he's not just a heal bot anymore, which is it's nice to see. They're not just
Not that I think we'll see it this tournament, but even this changes they've made with Bloodlust, where at level 20 you can have it heal as well for 30% of damage. I mean, it's just an interesting play with Rhaegar. Will we see Bloodlust? Probably not. But the fact that you could you could build a comp around that, and you could run with it. It's just the options potential, and Jam has to think about that. It's like, well, what if they do some crazy Rhaegar Bloodlust build? Do we have the tools necessary to respond to that? Oh, Jaina being picked up. Again, she's rise through the powers as she received a little bit of buff to her Frostbolt damage, of all things.
Yeah, they took damage off her auto attack. They took off damage from auto attacks from most of the mages because it just did not seem right for the mages to have so much damage just from hitting people with a basic attack. But yeah, she
is in the burst element now. She is a pure burst hero. She has no real sustain capability. Like she did, her auto attack was about 80 to 90 damage originally, and that's actually a pretty good amount of sustained auto attack damage.
Oh yeah.
The 3.5k, they are showing over the Falstad build. Great for this map. The global presence he gets from his flight is just very dominating. And they've seen the Mighty Gust just used in so many different circumstances be so effective. And it just brings so much utility to the game, right? You can a fight goes bad, get it out. You want to push someone into your forts? Oh yeah, there's just so much uses for it. It's
you see a situation you don't like? Nope, just have none of that. As they do pick up the Grey Man also, they've got a decent amount of damage already. I guess they wanted to sort of lock down two portions of their team comp, the damage and the healing,
Well, you looked at.
before the
Mm,
first ban phase. So
well,
and there's all
there's
the
enough
warriors up. So
tanks. Yeah, I mean, there's enough tanks in the games these days and warriors that banning it doesn't. Banning one out isn't really that strong. Having said that, Jam have gone. Well, we definitely don't want you to have Johanna.
yeah, they did not have a good time against that Johanna in that last game. They kept on trying
Mm.
to take her out, but it just was not effective.
Oh, actually, having said that, they banned Johanna. They have the next two picks, Jam. They've secured their support. They could possibly pick up two warriors here, actually, and try and strangle out 3.5k's choice of warrior compositions.
Yeah. They could even go with the ETC. The ETC Earther
Mm.
combo is pretty damn good. It could lock down some of those high priority targets. They could
Yep.
also go with the Diablo or again. Well,
Well, definitely could go either way. Diablo, go down to the ETC. I mean, you've got that Jaina. You've got that option for ETC, Mosh Pit, hold people in place, Jaina Burst, or Diablo, overpower into Apocalypse, and then again Jaina Burst right now.
I was going to mention it that potentially in Abathur because you got a big map. You've got a Jaina who's
Yep.
a really good target for an
Mm.
Abathur ult, and they pick up the Abathur ETC. Nice. They've got a really good
Ooh.
composition so far, and it'll be interesting to see what they rounded up with their
And
last pick.
and they do play Lost Vikings. They do play the crazy picks like Abathur,
Yeah.
the crazy heroes. So again, Abathur is great. Map is great, and because the lanes are so far between each other, you can play a fairly safe Abathur with your mines, the opposite lane to most of the action. If a hero goes missing, you've got a lot of time to be aware of your map and go right. Where's Greymane? Where's Falstad? Why is Rhaegar? You can kind of look and go, where are these heroes? And if you feel a bit unsafe, get out. Where a lot of other maps are very small, and by the time you realize that, it's too late, and you've already got Zeratul inside you.
Yeah, I think they've picked a good time to pick up this Abathur, especially with the comp that they've already got
Mm.
so far. Looks like 3.5 is going to go for the Muradin. Yeah, that's a solid frontliner. He did have that nerf to his avatar, no longer does the mini stuns, but he still hits like a. Well, he still is a troc. He stands there and doesn't take too much damage, and he can still do a lot of crowd control without the mini
Well, the
stuns.
mini stun was really effective against those heroes that had a big, strong channel effect. Right now,
Yeah.
there's nothing in Jam that really does it. I know the Mosh Pit does, but Muradin could never really get close enough to use the mini stun from his avatar, so that's not really a factor. But against any heroes, against Valor, when she's doing her strafe or anything like that, the mini stuns were super effective, and they really locked them out of place. They almost made those heroics useless. That's been
Hmm.
removed now. Muradin can't do that, but he's still a strong. He's still solid. You can still take Avatar. He still can't die. Leap on the target, stun him. Throw the Stormbolt, stun him. Hit him in the face with his axe and his hammer. I mean, he's still a very impactful hero and still a great pickup. Oh, Jam picking up Leoric.
Interesting last pick. I mean, they had the whole composition from three and a
Mm,
half to look at and decide what they want to go with that last uh, finalizing pick, and they go with the
yeah.
Leoric. Leoric does have some decent damage against other warriors, so and that's another good frontliner to allow a double Jaina to just fight with impunity and just not really worry too much about the diving threat from or potential diving threat from a Greymane and a Sonya.
Mm.
I think that's a really interesting draft that Jam did, and it looks really strong. It's going to be hard to. It's going to be interesting to see how 3.5 try and play around that. Uh, yeah,
It's weird, right? It's to say it's Jam's got this problem in this comp where they're relying on so much damage from their Jaina, and Abathur has to go clone. He has to. He has to. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it because,
monstrosity just isn't good.
well,
Well, it's not the.
it's not even that it's not good. In this, there's no choice.
Yeah, there's no choice.
He has to do
You
it.
need the damage.
That's it. Leoric is not going to really be able to dish out that damage. We look at 3.5k. They've got their Greymane, they've got their Falstad, they've got their Sonya. They have a lot of damage on their side. Jam, however, they do have their ETC and Leoric. Very strong front lines. Uther's going to be able to keep people alive. Very good pick up there. So, I mean, they can keep the game alive. Jam definitely. But I mean,
Mhm.
Jaina and Abathur have to be so on point here. I mean,
Yeah.
Abathur's going to have to be soaking the lanes like a boss, pushing when the temples are up, And but you know all the conditions are here for Jam to have a good game with this composition. But 3.5k, a little bit more traditional. They've got the Falstaff for global presence. I mean, they've got to be looking at this going, gee, you know, we jump on Jaina. If Jaina dies, yeah, we win the game.
Yeah,
You know,
if
it's
Jaina goes down, pretty much there's next to no damage coming out from Jen.
3.5k have kill the cheerleader, win the game. That is what 3.5k will be playing in this lineup. Jam is going to be playing the keep the Jaina alive at all costs game.
Yep, and they have a lot of tools to do so.
Yeah, that's it. So it's setting up to be a really good game. I am going to have to unfortunately go with 3.5k. I think they've got the better composition here. I think they've drafted a bit better, but I think Jam have been clever, but maybe they've been too clever. I don't know. We got to wait. We got to wait for the game. We'll wait to see exactly how this pans out.
Absolutely. Because we can talk about compositions all day long, but it all comes down to how well you play it.
Hmm.
And you never know, if you could get some snowballing or get some kills early, which is snowball and XP lead, which renders composition kind of moot.
Yeah, no, it's just... Alright, so we are just waiting, guys. We're just waiting for the game to get started and underway. And it's really interesting. I'm excited to see which direction this game goes in.
I think Jam Gaming are going to want to drag it out, make the most of the Abathur. Just don't try and get into too many early skirmishes, and try not to push too hard for any objectives that might seem a little bit too risky. Because once they get to that late game, they have the combo necessary to win a lot of those late game fights.
Yeah, all very interesting. Alright, so we've got our heroes have been selected, the teams are prepping to get into the game, and now we're just waiting.
And now we wait.
Just waiting for the game. This is always the toughest bit. It's waiting for the teams.
The wait. It's always the wait.
Get ready. Give me for a second. I just have to cough. I'll tell you what. That Abathur pick. He's good on this map. I'm just concerned with the Abathur and the Leoric. I don't know if Jam have really thought their backup plan.
I think the most, well, I wouldn't say not so much questionable, but the one you could raise the most questions about would be the Leoric, the Abathur with the composition that they had with the Uther, the Jaina, and the EDC. Abathur with those three heroes is really good. I'm just not sure what they're wanting to be doing with this Leoric.
No, I can see them using the Entomb and effectively trying to section off the enemy team, give Jaina more time to kill particular targets. I mean, that's what I envision, unless they are going to go March of the Black King just for an extra damage. Like Mosh Pit, March of the Black King, and then the double Jaina. But I mean,
it'll be interesting to see.
Well, there's better heroes. You could have chosen a different hero than the Leoric to do that.
Yeah.
Though it does make a pretty strong front line.
He should be able to.
His lane is good as well.
Yeah, he should be at least able to put up enough of a wall that the Jaina should be able to survive.
I know, interesting times.
Interesting being the buzzword of the day.
Yeah, that's it.
Very interesting. Very much interesting.
I mean, the first game was, again, a good mix of heroes on each team as well, so I'm just very
conflicting playstyles. Which ended up going in the favor of 3.5k, as we...
Well, their draft, it's a weird one to say, right? Did they win the draft? To be honest, we can't really make that call just yet. They They have a more traditional draft, as you can look at. All right, that's going to play pretty easily. You got Muradin and Sonya to engage. But anyway, we are in the game, so enough about what could be. Let's watch what will be.
Very well. On the blue side, we have 3.5k MMR EU. We have Morton on the Sonya. We have Lahal on the Falstad, Altivian on the Greymane, Babelfish on Rhaegar, and Jack on the Muradin.
And on the other side of the map, they are dressed in red again. It is Jam Gaming. Spread the jam, and H Whiskey has paused. They did talk a little earlier about having some HOTS client issues, so they might just be waiting for someone to catch up, lagging a bit, or someone might just drop.
And people are saying a remake potentially. It looks like we're going to be having a quick remake, as far as I can tell.
Alright, there's no issues early in the game. No problem with that. Though we do have to reload the game again.
Oh, good.
Oh, why are we on Singapore servers?
Oh, really? Do people not have their priorities set to AU?
Unfortunately, we can't talk to them straight to the servers, so let me... Sorry guys, we'll just sort this out.
That was interesting.
Oh, well, there was no restrictions and rules saying that they had to be played on Australian servers. It was just...
We had to play from Australia.
That's it. So if both teams are happy with the lag, and lag's not too bad sometimes.
50 is playable-ish.
Alright, anyway, like I said, no rules technically are being broken at the moment. Oh, no, they did actually. I decided to quit the game, restart. That is good.
Whew.
I did make the suggestion. They might want to do that.
A nice score screen with absolutely nothing on it.
Alright, we'll just leave that. Alright guys, so if you've just tuned in, what just happened, we just had a game misfire and we just need to remake it. We'll start that right now. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, somehow we managed to end up on a Singaporean server, so I don't think we want to be doing that anytime soon.
There we go.
I'm pretty sure I have my... Yes, preferred region Australia.
I have to admit, I just had to change myself back to preferred region Australia. Though it shouldn't have been the cause.
Nah, it shouldn't have been. Probably just a bit of a glitch in the system. Not too much of a problem, but yeah.
So unfortunately, there wasn't enough of the game to really see what was going on. We couldn't decide, you know, oh, this person's going to play, this team's going to be better than that team. Because we only got into about 30 seconds into the game, if that. So nothing's been given away. Still interesting to see how both teams are going to position. That's it. We're just going to wait and get back into this game.
Yep. Yeah. Shouldn't be too long.
Alright, I've been invited back, so...
In the meantime, do we have many of the results from the other games so far?
No, I believe they are still playing through. Let me just check out the brackets. If there's any updates. There was a little bit of an issue this morning with the bracket system. So possibly teams might be having issues reporting their scores, which just means it's just going to have to let the admins know what the scores were and we'll do the updating.
Well, good. Okay, we're just waiting on the last few people to filter into the lobby.
All right, people just letting us know that it was a DC issue. There was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple of players that DC during the last game, and obviously he's got
yeah,
that awful bug that if you DC, it doesn't change, it does something weird with your preferences, and then you have to sort of exit the client, get back into it, reform the team, blah blah blah.
yeah. Had that happen way too many
Yeah,
times in the past. It's like, what's that? We're playing on an EU, not an EU server, a Central American server. It's like, oh, why do we have like 250 pings? This is terrible. Uh,
yeah, it's always surprising. Yeah,
it's a
the
pain in the
first week
head.
it was released, everyone's like, why? Why do we keep getting put on these different servers?
It's like, fix your preferences.
You told us that we could choose our servers. It's not true.
Uh,
Is that a name change? Sorry, just a joke. There's a 3.5k MMR on EU. I'm just mentioning that maybe they should change the name to 3.5k MMR on SG.
uh,
Alright, so we're getting back into the game now. This is 3.5k MMR on EU versus a Jam Gaming on Sky Temple. We had a bit of a misfire before, but we are getting back into the action now, and I am very excited for this match. I want to see what Jam are going to do with this Leoric. Still not confident it was a good pick, but I mean they obviously have a plan, right? The Jam Gaming are not a bad team. They did very well in the qualifiers round. Didn't make it to the top 2, top 4, but they're thinking about that top 4, top 8 positioning. So they're a very good team. So I'm sure they've got a
absolutely.
great plan for this. But we look at the other team, 3.5k. They're not a full-time team, but Morton is actually the team manager for Negative Synergy. So he's actually participating in this event on a different team. But that's the interesting thing is that these are potentially all very competitive players.
Absolutely.
Especially
And I
with...
guess we'll do the introduction yet again.
That's
On
it.
the blue side, we have 3.5k MMR from EU with Altivian on the grey main, Lahal on the Falstad, Jack on the Muradin, Bebblefish on the... Oh god, they're all stacked up together. Bebblefish on the Rhaegar, and who did I miss? Morton on the Sonya.
Alright, and in red is Jam Gaming. We got Hurdles playing the ETC. Lay Auric is the very own Clapton himself. Once played on Apex. We got H Whiskey, who is Uther. Dubscope is Jaina. And down the bottom, we have a Zami on Abatha.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we have a kind of interesting positioning from Babelfish as he tries to get a little bit aggressive, but doesn't really get too much out of it, as looks like they're just going to go back to soaking lanes, as Farsight does flat into the bottom, where it's just going to be the Abatha going to be passively pushing that lane, while the rest of the team from Jam Gaming is going to be imposing their presence on the other lanes.
Alright, so we got a little bit of a switch going on here. We've got 3 people at the top lane for 3.5k. We've got 3 people in the mid lane for Jam. So both teams are pushing in the different directions, in the different lanes. But it's starting to even out a bit now. I mean, look at that, Altivian and Morton. Look how fast they can clear lanes. And they're going to see him rotate back up top as well. This is going to be very hard for this Leoric. He's not really going to be able to get to the minions to clear him in a good time. And he's just got the constant threat of Morton and Altivian rotating up. And maybe punishing him if he's a bit overextended or if he doesn't quite wraith out in time. So Temple is activated straight into it. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a tussle in the top lane so far. No team committing to a Temple just yet. And just as I say that, we do see the commitment take place. And it will be 3.5k taking the top tower, or top Temple, and a Jam taking the mid.
Yeah, it looks like they just want to go for that trade on those first towers. It's not too much of a problem to just trade those first ones, but it looks like Jack and Babelfish are looking to get a little bit aggressive, trying to get a little bit of position onto this central temple, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get too much. So they're just going to go back to lanes and soak. Yeah, it's just going to be a straight trade. And they're just going to soak experience and try and get better position for the next temple phase, as Zami on the Abatha was a little bit far forward, and the Grey Mane gave him a little bit of a poke to get back into your lane. And just get back behind the towers. You're not supposed to be there.
Oh, a
He
little bit
just
of
goes back to the bot lane to try and just soak some of that XP.
well, against that foul stat, I mean, we've seen here that 3.5k were doing a very good job soaking majority of the lanes, actually. About had 2 lanes on soak during the engagement. We saw Jam only have 1. Interesting enough, even though they've traded temples, I feel that the top temple on this map is the strongest temple on those first 2, purely because it weakens the top lane. And if you pick up that mercenary camp and you do the timing correctly,
Oh yeah.
you can push into it. So the top tower, I feel, is always the best tower in that situation.
Well, here comes the fight. Is that the blue team does go onto the Jaina. They do get stunned up by the ETC, and he tries to get out, but they do manage to take him down, and that's going to be the first kill of the game, going over to 3.5k. And that was a really nice pick. They tried to go onto the Jaina, but when they realized that they didn't have the kill secured, they turned immediately onto the ETC, who was trying to make a nuisance for himself, but ended up just getting killed instead.
Yeah, that's it. So look, the camps are being picked up right now, and we see that that 3.5k are going to pick up the top mercenary camp. Like I said, all the work they did with the top tower is really going to pay off here when those mercenaries get here, and we should have the temples starting to spawn relatively soon.
It should be soon. The bottom temple will be the next, or be the next phase. Will be only the bottom one. That's how it goes. And having those mercenaries pushing through the top wave is going to be a pretty decent distraction. If
I'm about to say it would have been a decent distraction, but I think their timing's actually been very off because they've hit the towers.
Yeah.
We can see Jam Gaming rotate to it and respond to it quite effectively.
Ooh, they're actually trying to go in onto these two, but they do manage to not have enough damage right away, so they do manage to get out. But yeah, I think it was just the timing was slightly off for 3.5k, but with all of Jam Gaming up in the top side, it does give them the blue team position on this bottom temple. As Lahol just running through a whole bunch of Abathur mines is forced to actually go back, but they still have the position on this temple as it is finally awake.
Battlefish
But
is a bit of trouble in the mid lane. He's getting pressured a lot. He's going to hit the mine. He's on such low health, but Jam can't follow up. That actually would have been such a detrimental pickup just then against 3.5k. Even now, he does have to back out and heal for a while. So that's very good for a Jam situation here. Muradin's had to stay in the top lane to deal with the Merc camps picked up by Jam. Timing slightly better. So this entire engagement is actually panning out much better for Jam. And I wonder if 3.5k might have to give this up.
yeah, I think they just missed a bit of an opportunity. They could have at least taken a few of those shots when Jam Gaming was working in the top and mid side of the map, but they didn't get any. But now they don't have the position to work their way in, and all they're trying to is the Jaina is almost in an awkward position, but they go in onto the ETC. They're not able to get all the damage down as H Whiskey just gets blown up. They put the damage right onto it, and they are actually going to get some of it as the rest of Jam Gaming was not around to help.
That was an interesting decision there by Leoric to leave that bottom lane.
Yeah.
Maybe it pushed out Faustad, but you saw what happened there. Faustad just came down to the bottom lane, and then he helped in that engagement, and he helped him win that temple. So, interesting, very interesting play there by
Yeah, I think that what they're needing right now is just some XP. 3.5k is level 10. They've had a reasonable experience lead throughout this whole game, and it's just Jam Gaming is just needing to catch up. They cannot fight 3.5k while they're down, while they don't even have their own heroics. Well, they do look to go on to the Leoric as they almost catch him out, but the clutch heal right at the end does manage to save him, and he's able to get out. But that's going to be a lot of pressure lost in that lane, and well, actually that's not going to do it. They use the ancestral healing just to top himself up, and they look to take out these siege camps, and there's absolutely nothing that Jam Gaming can do. Well, they do actually look to go onto the Sonya, but there is just not nearly enough damage there. The Jaina is available, but they do not want to take that fight, and everyone just gets out scot-free, and those giants go over to 3.5k, and it's interesting that they haven't really seen too many big team fights yet. There's only been small skirmishes here and there that 3.5k have been able to take advantage of, because they have a more well-rounded comp throughout the whole of the game. The composition that Gem Gaming has is going to be strong eventually, but not right now. But it looks like the Greymane is going to get caught out for a bit. But the Mighty Gust does come in and disrupts the fight. The Martial Black King does go down. Mosh Pit is locking up the Rhaegar, and he does get taken out. It looks like the fight is going quite well in the favor of Gem Gaming. The healing is still going off, and it looks like a lot of damage coming out from the Jaina. Well, the two Jainas.
The double Jaina.
Yeah, the double Jaina is doing work, and it looks like 3.5k is going to have to back off. But ooh, that was a really risky recall there from the Greymane, but only trading 1 for 1 there, I do believe.
That's interesting. We've hit level 10 now, so we're just talking about it. That Jam doesn't really quite have the right early game composition. It's level 10 now. Because Zami can clone a Jaina, it's going to be a very different game now. We're potentially going to see Jam really start to take out these fights.
Yeah, they're going to need to be able to win those fights because they are still at an experience disadvantage, as it looks like they're trying to fight again, but the ETC does manage to slide his way on out as all 5 members of the blue team are there to impose their presence. And they will take out a lot of those buildings and pretty much all of that middle temple, as Leoric is he's just doing his own thing, just capping that bottom temple, as it looks like the Jaina is the ETC just walks straight into the enemy team, but they're not going to be able to take him out as he just slides out. And it was a nice attempt at a catch, but with an ETC being able to just easily slide out, he wasn't at too much of a risk, especially when he had an Uther standing right beside him.
Yeah, that's it. They didn't quite able to catch ETC, and he could get away pretty easily. But behind this, 3.5k are just going to pick up another temple. I mean, they're just being so dominating on these temple situations right now. It's I'm not quite sure what Jam's plan is. I mean, they do have... Okay, they've got Amatha in the bottom lane right now, doing a lot of work. But 3.5k might have a plan here. Are they going to jump the wall? No.
They want to do something, but it doesn't look like Jam is going to buy it.
They knew what was going on, but I don't think... Yeah, they didn't really have the...
Something seemed fishy, but... And they're just looking to take their own mercenaries, so there's not... That little venture from 3.5k is not going to come to fruition, but it looks like the Sonya's going to get caught out a little bit, as they do go onto the mosh pit, does go down, but the healer is still alive, but is... Oh, they actually do manage to take out the Sonya before the Ancestral goes off, and now there's a lot of damage coming down from the double Jaina, as Mighty Gust does come out, but they are not out of the woods yet, as they do get the power slide onto the Muradin. He goes very low, but has not been taken out yet. Just one more hit would do it, but it looks like they're going to be able to get away. But that was a really good pick-off for Jam Gaming. They're going to be able to... They should be able to get a little bit more pressure in the lanes. They should be able to get some of that experience back. And they could probably force a bit more, but some of them were taken a little bit low, and they're going to have to go back and sort of clean the lanes. But that was a really good fight for them.
Yeah, it almost seemed like at first they jumped onto the Sonya and they dropped the mosh pit and think, man, is that such a good move? Especially when Muradin ran over to throw down a Stormbolt. But you saw the Uther, bam, popped the Divine Shield and went, no way, Muradin, sorry, no way are you going to prevent ETC from doing his mosh pit. And Muradin himself actually got caught in the mosh pit as well behind that. It was a great pickup. Sonya removed. It's good experience gain for Jam because they are behind, so they get more experience per kills. And you just saw there, Lahol had to come in and he had to disengage, and he had to drop the Gust and bam, just go, no, we do not want to fight this, guys. Let's get out. And even on the retreat, it seemed a bit dicey that even Muradin could have maybe folded. Yeah,
I thought that with the Rhaegar not being caught in that mosh pit, that they would have been able to survive it, but the Muradin does get quite a little bit, is forced to dwarf toss himself over the wall, but the Jam Gaming is looking to make their presence known coming towards this bottom shrine, but here comes the fight. The Ring of Frost does go down. The damage is not really coming down for Jam Gaming, but it is being dealt by 3.5k, and Mosh Pit does catch 3, and that's a really good Mosh Pit. It's not actually doing enough, as the Jaina is just not in a position to be able to deal the damage, and that's going to be an almost complete
Oh,
wipe
that's gonna.
for 3.5k, and they're just going to look towards the boss, and yep, they're going to go for the boss, and it looked like Jam Gaming got a little bit antsy. They had used the Abathur ultimate to try and get that Muradin pick, but when he jumped over the wall and they didn't really have a follow-up, it looked like they pushed a little bit too hard to try and get that get towards the temple, and they just put themselves in a really awkward position, and they just did not have the tools available
They
to take that fight.
they pushed the fight they didn't need to push.
Absolutely.
I mean, they wanted to get the kills. Interesting. I'd say interesting. We didn't talk about the heroics that everyone took at level 10 because they're all pretty standard picks. Except we did see Leoric actually pick up March the Black King. We did talk about that during drafting, and so he did take it and he used it, and it didn't really connect too well on. Only really hit one target. That was a nice mini heal, but it didn't have the full impact. So ETC's gone and used his mosh pit. Where was the follow-up? Ring of Frost was already used. Abathur's clone was done for. The Divine Shield was already used on Leoric. Leoric used March the Black King. It was a bit too late. It didn't.
It was a bit of an awkward, probably a bit of a communication error there, because there was a really good mosh pit, but everything was already used by that point.
Yeah.
They had literally no follow-up, and there was just nothing they could do after they had blown all their ults. As here comes the EDC again, they look like to take another fight. Everyone dodges out of the Ring of Frost. It looks like the EDC does get taken out, and the Sonya goes out also, but the fight is on that point. They really wanted to take that mercenary camp, as it looks like the red team is going to get it. Jam Gaming looking like they should be able to survive, but the Jaina is out of mana, is not able to do much more damage, but everyone jumps out from 3.5k and they just give up that camp. But it was a really close fight, and I think just because the Jaina was able to be reasonably safe to spit out damage there, they were able to at least hold on to their own camp, but it was really close.
That's the thing to take away from this, that if Jaina is left alive, she is Jam Gaming's damage. So it's hands down. If she's allowed to freely go around and do all her damage, Jam will come out on top every fight. And we just saw there that she did a great job, a lot of damage spread. I think 3.5k could have stayed, but they decided to play it safe. They're like, gee, do we want to really lose any more heroes? Because we're just giving them free experience. They've closed the gap. It's only one level difference now. There's no talent advantage for either team at the moment. So it's anyone's game. Right now, it is anyone's game.
Yeah, and I think Jam Gaming needs to actually fight quite soon, rather than later, because if 3.5k are able to get to level 20, and never mind, as they look to be going straight for that fight, the mosh pit does get onto 2. They pick up the healer in that, but here comes the fast set as the Mighty Guys does lock them down for a bit, and it looks like the damage just was not in there for Jam Gaming, and that's going to just be a complete wipe.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts so much. But look at that. Look at the death counter. Who died first in this situation? We saw Leoric die. He was the first to fall, and then it's gone straight onto Uther. So what does that tell you about that fight? And Jam was just spread out too much. There was ETC dropped the mosh pit, really great mosh pit. However, where it failed to really follow up on was there was no one around him to do anything about it. Sonya was hassling Jaina. Jaina had to back out, couldn't follow up with damage. So we saw Leoric die. Then we saw, then it went to Uther. Then it went to ETC. Then it went to Jaina. That's a kill line. They were just picked off one at a time, 2 spread out. Bad, I hate to say it, bad engagement, bad use of the
It looked like they could have had a decent pick, but I don't think the rest of Jam Gaming was ready for that to happen. And once the front line goes down, the Jaina is not safe to put down her damage, and she just can't do her damages. It looks like Jam Gaming is trying to make their way towards the top temple, but Morton goes in onto the Uther, and it looks like they are going to get out of this as the ETC comes along as coverage, but this is a really risky fight to take, as the level difference is really quite noticeable as much Black King comes through, and the healing is helping, but it's not enough, as the Ring of Frost is not doing much, and the additional Jaina isn't doing all that much, and that was just not the time to be fighting for Gem Gaming. They were down a level, they were down the level 20 talents, and they just were not in a position to fight that.
It's an interesting one. I think they could have taken that fight and they could have won it because it was heavy in their side. Like, they did have the numbers advantage for some time, but it was very poorly executed, and they really needed to regroup, especially when Leoric was on the other side of your team. They were going to run away, and
Or,
then another fight breaks out. Jam is desperate
or
here.
the mosh pit
Mushpit
does
goes
go down,
down.
and they do not manage to take out the Sonya as the ancestral healing comes out, and that's pretty much going to be the fight because once that uh, um, first kill is denied, there is absolutely nothing that Jam Gaming can do, and that's going to be the Uther just dying twice because his redemption is not going to be too useful there. And it looks like 3.5k is looking to just push in for the win, and the GGs are starting to be called, and it looks like this is going to be a decisive 2-0 for 3.5k MMR EU.
Yeah, that's it. Taking out. So they will win the first game 2-0. And
Well done to them.
they will stay in the upper bracket. And we see Jam get knocked down into the elimination round. It's a bit of a scary time for Jam because now they are fighting. Every game they play could potentially be their last because the lower
Oh,
bracket is best of one.